listening to the home of cool, irreverent, and entertaining talk, right here on LA Talk Radio. You're listening to The Art of Love with your host, Lucia, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to The Art of Love. My name is Lucia. I'm your host and a dating and relationship expert, and I'm here to entertain, educate, and enlighten you about love, dating, and relationships, take your live calls, answer your emails, and speak to authors of books, which I think everyone should know about. And the book today I definitely think every woman should know about, because we are finally going to be able to find out when a guy is lying. An important topic for all us women. And it's not just your usual, BS things like, oh, well, if he can't look you in the eye, or if he twitches or moves in his seat uncomfortably, it means he's lying. No. We are going to give you the exact phrases, exact things that a guy's going to say when you ask him really important questions, such as, are you married? Are you dating anyone? Are you sleeping with anyone? We're going to find out exactly what a guy says when he's going to lie to you, and of course when he's telling the truth. So I would like to welcome the author of Little White Wise, Ish Major MD. Hey there, welcome. Where is he? Uh-oh. Hello? Can you hear me? No. Now we'll never find out what happened. All right, hold on. I think we got disconnected. All right. Help. It's a new board, so I don't know what's going on here. All right, please bear with me. And I will try to call him again. Of course, the one show, the one time I want to hear what the lies are, I cannot talk to the guy. Good.
Hello?
You disappeared.
The line went dead. I got that little weird voice that came on there. I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, my God. Okay, luckily we got you back. Okay,
Awesome.
So I was just saying, all right, let me tell a bit about you. This is Ish Major MD, the author of Little White Wise, A Woman's Guide Through the Lies Men Tell and Why. And he is a board-certified adult psychiatrist who specializes in children and families. He completed his medical school training at the University of South Carolina School of Medicine, and where he lives and practices independently. So, very anxious to get talking about this book. Why did you write it?
Well, you know what? Very personal story. When I was in my last year of medical school, I was fortunate enough to meet a young woman who was just everything I had ever wanted or hoped to meet in a young lady. Unfortunately for everybody at the time, she was just not the young lady I was dating. And so I ended up lying to her, lying to myself, and in the process hurting and losing one of the most special people I think I've ever known. And at that point, I just, the question was why? Mm-hmm. Why do guys do this? Why do you lie to yourself, and why do you hurt people like that? And that's where the idea for the book really came from.
Mm-hmm. And so, why did you lie to her?
Well, because I thought it was the thing to do at the time, because the person I was dating on paper had everything you would want. They came from the right background, the right family. My family liked hers, and vice versa. And so it was what everybody expected me to do. However, the feelings just weren't there.
Oh, okay. So you were lying because you weren't feeling it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So is that then generally why guys lie?
That's one reason, and that first lie comes from lying to yourself, telling yourself you're happy doing a thing when you really know you're not. And I think a lot of that, for me, came out of fear of stepping out there and changing what I was doing.
So you said to believe half of what men say and all of what men do. I'm starting to think we should believe none of what men say.
But I think you may be right, because it goes to the basic difference of how men and women think. Women like to go through the process of a situation. They want to process the feelings, discuss different options. Men are very solutions-oriented. When we hear a problem, we want to fix it. And so we want results. And so how we show results are through our actions. Have you ever known of a couple who are in a relationship, and the woman wants to know, do you love me, or why are you here, type thing, and the guy will have this puzzled look on his face. Well, of course I'm here every day. We go out every weekend. I send you flowers, don't I? Don't those things show you how much I care? And she will say, yes, but I would love to hear it.
Right.
And so guys are all about the show. We'll show you what we want you to know.
Okay. Now, you said that everything that women need to know about men tell them during their first 3 conversations. So please do tell.
Absolutely. A guy is going to have a presentation. It's like he's making a pitch to you. Okay, this is the package of me. This is why you should get to know me. Okay, yes. And within those first 3 conversations, if you pay very close attention, he will tell you exactly what he will and will not be able to do. And if you're agreeing to it and you allow the conversation to go on and there to be another conversation and another, then he can just check those things off the list. So you plus pay very close attention. I have a very good friend of mine. He always tells his new female friends he's single. He doesn't want a relationship. He says, I'm more of a in-person kind of person. I'm not really a big phone person, which means I'm not going to call you much. I'm very spontaneous, which is code for I'm only going to call you when I need you, and if you're available, then we can do something then. Otherwise, don't expect to hear from me.
Right.
And so you have to read between the lines. What is he really saying? Not all that interested in you, except for when I feel like I need you.
Blah, blah, blah. Now, what about, a lot of guys say, I'm so busy. But is there ever a time when a guy really is busy? Let's say he's building his career, he's, trying to build himself up financially, and he really doesn't have time for a relationship?
Never. My answer would be absolutely never. Men make time for the things they feel like they need. Okay? We need to sleep, we make time to sleep. We need to eat, we make time to eat. If we feel like you're one of those people who we need to have in our life, whether it's just a 5-minute conversation every day, you have time to do that.
Okay, so as long as they're giving you something, they're trying to give you something. Like they can't give you a full relationship, but they can at least give you some attention.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because at that point, he's showing you not only does he know that's what you need, but it feels like it's something he needs also. He needs to talk to you.
Right, because otherwise the guys aren't going to call and talk if they don't want to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So that's important. Now I'm paraphrasing when you said when you don't understand where he's coming from, he just wants sex. So when a guy just wants sex, what kind of things will he say?
Well, he will say those types of things that you just mentioned. Oh, I'm very busy with work, and I've got a lot on my mind right now. I've got a lot of things I'm trying to figure out right now. Anything that lets you know that emotionally I'm not going to really be there for you 100%. I may have a little time here and there physically to, quote unquote, grab a cup of coffee or that kind of thing.
Or grab something else.
The classic line that a guy uses when he just wants sex is, let's say a female calls him up, hey, what are you doing? You want to go grab a movie, get something to eat? No, why don't you just come over and let's watch a movie? That is every guy, when he hears that, he automatically knows what's on his mind. Absolutely.
Right, because they think it's going to lead to something else.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then also dating. You mentioned dating. So to guys, dating is something different than to women. So what is dating for men?
To men, dating means anything less than you being my girlfriend is what that means. That means it is nebulous. That means I see you when I can. We talk when I can. I enjoy spending time with you. I enjoy the things we do. But at no point during that quote-unquote dating period is he going to ever say, this is just a monogamous thing, one-on-one. I want this to lead to something more. We want to keep it light. We want to keep it as vague as possible. And that allows us to be guilt-free in whatever else we may be doing.
Okay, so then is there anything a woman can do then to make the guy say he wants to be exclusive?
You know what? I don't think there is. I think at that point, if that's what the woman is feeling, she needs to say so.
So it's okay to have the talk?
It's okay to have the talk. Now, you don't want to do it too soon.
No.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Every guy has got a different timetable for that. Some guys say nothing within a month. Some guys say nothing within 3 months. Men are creatures of habit. And so anything we do for 3 months, now it's a habit to us. If we've been seeing you and hanging out with you for 3 months or more, we're getting used to the idea of having you around. And so anytime after 3 months, I think it's safe to go ahead and broach the topic of having the talk. And he's going to be less likely to respond in a way that you don't want at that point, because now you're a habit to him. He's used to the idea of you being around and you being the girl.
Right, but then also if he has several other women, he may not want to give them up.
True. And so at that point, you draw a line in the sand and you say, listen, this is how I'm feeling about it. I'm getting closer to you, and I'm feeling that emotional connection. I don't think I can be just one of the girls. And if you mean as much to him as he's come to mean to you, then he won't have any problem saying, okay, you're right. I'm not going to see anybody else for you. That's the true test.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so you got to be willing, because he may not say that, and so you got to be willing to walk away at that point and give him some time to think about it. That's the risk you run.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you end up having to walk away, I mean, how likely is it that the guy eventually down the road will go, you know what, I'm really not happy with these other women. I think I'm going to want to see her.
You know what? That actually happens more often than you think. Guys are very smart when it comes to hindsight. We can see it.
We all are.
Once we've made a mess of it and we walk away from it and put some distance between it, we can see it very clearly. And so oftentimes guys come back. And the risk is, if she's that great a girl, she may not be available by the time you figure it out. And so that's the risk you run as a guy. But oftentimes, more often than not, that's usually how it works. The guy realizes that he almost lost it and doesn't want to run that risk of it happening again. Very rarely will a guy be able to recognize and acknowledge it to himself that, hey, this is the girl and we need to move forward from the jump start.
So do you think maybe her walking away will prompt him to think, hey, the fact she was willing to walk away, that says something about her, that she has self-respect, and maybe I should give her a second look?
Guys respect that tremendously.
Mm.
Tremendously. The woman who will not let us have our way all the time, who will not let us walk all over them, who will stand up for herself and mean it and back it up with action. We never forget those women. We always respect them. Always.
Right. A friend of mine, she was dating someone for about 8 months, and then they broke up, and they're still in contact sporadically. And then, out of the blue, the other day, they were talking, and he said to her, I miss you and I adore you, and just stuff like that. And she's like, what? And we're wondering, where the heck did that come from? They've been broken up. He didn't want to get back together, and now out of the blue, he's expressing his feelings.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now he's realized it. He's gotten tired and bored to death with whatever it was he was doing that made him not want to commit to her in the first place. And she's shown him over time what a great person she is, and how much self-respect she has, and how and what it means. He's come to realize what it means by not having her in his life in that way.
Right. See? Yeah, because women think, I got to stick around and try and convince him to stay just with me.
Absolutely. You're walking in quicksand, fighting a losing battle. You cannot do it. He's got to come to it all of his own, and sometimes the only way you can let him see that you are the one is by not being there.
Yeah, because then you also said in the book, if you have that talk and he doesn't want to make you, be committed,
Mm-hmm.
and then you stick around, then things are going to deteriorate, because then it's going to just be sex.
Absolutely, absolutely. He knows that you're willing to put up with whatever little he's willing to give, whatever little time and attention. He knows you're willing to stick around, and then slowly he's asking himself, why is she willing to do that? Why? Where's her self-respect? Where's her self-esteem? Or what is she really sticking around for? And that, like you said, that is definitely going to deteriorate or degenerate into a situation where you're not going to be able to move forward.
Yeah. Now, you also mentioned the back burner. I rarely read about it in books. And
Mm-hmm.
my friend, she actually calls she has the phrase back burner bitch.
Oh, yeah.
She goes,
I like that phrase.
Yeah, she goes, I'm not going to be a back burner bitch. But you actually say it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing to be on the back burner.
Right. It's not. It's really not, because the back burner, it gives you time. It gives you time to watch his actions. Mm-hmm. Because, you may not be 100% sure about him, just as he's not 100% sure about you. So if you're on the back burner, you can watch him from afar. And as a guy presents you, I talked about them again, a guy will present you with a package. We have a pitch package we're making to you. This is my mission statement. This is who I am, what I do, what I'm about, and where I think I'm going in life. Now, if you're on the back burner, you can sit back and watch if he's really sticking to his mission statement that he gave you those first few conversations you guys had. So you can figure out a lot by watching from afar. And then also, that also lets him build up that self-respect for you because you're not letting him do what he wants and have his way without any form of commitment with you.
So let's just define. Maybe some people listening may not know exactly what does it mean to be on the back burner.
To be on the back burner means you are hopefully, ideally, not having any sexual relationship with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You are not the girlfriend. You are not dating. You are someone he enjoys talking to on the phone. You may get together for lunch. You may have the occasional dinner, but it's strictly on a friendship basis. This is that point in a relationship where he's comfortable talking to you about other people he's seeing. You should also feel comfortable talking to him about other people you're seeing. And so it's a strictly platonic thing with the undertones of some flirtatiousness. And in the event the timing is ever right, we may look at progressing to a more romantic relationship, but that's not where we are now.
Okay, so then what are some signs that you're on the back burner besides the fact that obviously you're just or would those be the signs? The fact what you just
those
defined?
would be the signs. The phone calls you get, they're not. I say they're not frequently programmed. That is, they're not routine phone calls every night at 9 or every Wednesday. They're sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Gonna call you when I can. Oh, hey, it would be great to see you. A great telltale sign for women to know they're on the back burner is when the guy ends the conversation. He's like, "Oh, we should catch up sometimes."
Oh, okay.
Nebulous, kind of vague. Whenever you have time, call me, or whenever I have time, call you. We'll do something, quote unquote. Those types of statements. We should see each other. Not really sure when it's going to happen. No big deal. We'll do it when we do it.
Now you just reminded me of something. Because guys, you're talking about guys calling. Now, what does it mean when a guy says to a woman several times, why don't you ever call me? You should call me sometime.
Mm-hmm. When a guy says that to a woman,
mm-hmm.
well, that means he's really trying to gauge her level of interest, or he's one of those men who really wants to be pursued a little, and for whatever reason, he's not comfortable being the pursuer. Could be a past history where he did it and it didn't end well, or he could really be trying to, again, gauge your level of interest, that kind of thing. And a lot of guys, from the 90s on now, a lot of guys want the role to be reversed. They like being pursued. They like to be the one who's first approached and, and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and speaking of approaching, you mentioned that very beautiful women. It seems that the only guys who approach them are the losers and the uber arrogant.
Absolutely. Yeah, I tell a lot of women in my practice, being beautiful is almost like a handicap.
It is.
Right, and I'm sure you're familiar. Guys will not be able to see past it. We have all these assumptions we make about beautiful people, beautiful women in particular, and it's almost like that's all you ever be is this beautiful object. They don't understand that there's actually a person with a beating heart and a working smart brain underneath that package. And so it's very unfortunate because a lot of times guys end up missing out on a very great, cool person just because they can't see past the idea of the arm candy or that type of thing. And, as quiet as it kept, guys are extremely intimidated by beautiful women. That is the worst thing that could absolutely happen, is to get turned down or brushed off by a beautiful woman. It is ego-crushing, and it takes a while to get over that.
Wow. Yeah, because, beautiful women don't realize that, because obviously we see ourselves every day, so we're not intimidated. And so
exactly. I tell people, listen, it's not a big deal to her. She's been looking at that same face in the mirror every day for the last who knows how long. So she's over it. It's not a big deal to her. It's only a big deal to you. You just got to get used to it. Absolutely. But and they won't admit it, but guys are deathly afraid of that. That is the absolute worst outcome that could happen. You go up, you muster up the nerve to approach, and you get shot down. Oh, now you're crushed.
So it's worse to be turned down by a beautiful woman than a so-so woman?
Oh, it is so much worse.
You sound like you've been there.
been there, guilty as charged. It is not a great place to be, and it takes a while to recover. It really does. Yeah.
Like how long?
But the guys, the absolute losers, they got nothing to lose. They get turned down 20 times a day. No big deal. What's one more? The super arrogant would never guess that it's anything wrong with them or something that she didn't like about them is why they get turned down. So those are the guys who say, well, honey, you don't know what you're missing kind of thing.
Yeah, I know.
Either way for the woman, it is what it is. Just move on because neither end of that spectrum is going to make you happy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, my girlfriends and I were always complaining. It's like, why is it all these losers come up and try to talk to us?
Absolutely. They got nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's why they're called losers. Hey. Okay.
Absolutely. You got it.
Now, let's get
And it's impossible to hurt their feelings because they are not under no illusions that they have anything to offer.
Right. They're just rolling the dice and hoping for the best.
Absolutely.
So let's get to the really good part of the book. Not that it's not all good. But this is way to phrases to look for, the red flags, when you ask certain questions. So I'm going to give you the questions, and you're going to give me some red flags.
Okay.
Sounds like we're playing a little game here. Okay. So when a woman asks, are you married, what she should be looking for?
She should be looking for any form of hesitation. Any shift in his body language that shows that he is thinking of something or someone unpleasant, okay? The red flag answers are, yeah, but I'm not happy. Or, well, we're going through some issues right now. The classic one is that we're living separate but equal lives, okay? Anything a guy wants to tell you in that situation, he wants to tell you anything that lets you know that he may be in a committed relationship. However, I am emotionally available to you. Because we know that that's what women want to hear, that we're emotionally available. And as long as we're emotionally available to you, then things have a chance of progressing.
Do you think that's how Tiger got his women?
I tell you what, that Tiger situation is that is a whole nother monster, isn't it?
Yeah. But he was saying that he wasn't happy in his marriage.
Absolutely. It has to have a jumping off point. That is, the other woman has to have a reason she feels justified moving forward. That's usually it.
Right, as opposed to, I love my wife and I'll never leave her.
Right, exactly. At that point, now you're just coming off vampish if you pursue that. But if he gave you a reason, you can always justify your mind. Oh well, he wasn't happy, and so.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the next one. Have you ever had sex with a man?
And that answer should be heck no, or some form of expletive before the no. Okay. Anything less than that, take it as a yes.
Right. Such as define sex.
Exactly. Well, he just held me for a while. No, that's not going to fly. That's not what we're looking for. Any man who's heterosexual and wants you to understand this, he is going to be adamant about there being no question to his manhood at all in that way. And so that's going to be a very short, very curt, very vibrant answer that he gives you in that question. And anything less than an absolute no, believe it's a yes.
Because I think women rarely ask this question, but I think we should all start asking it.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge deal. It is, and there's there's no way of getting around a right answer to that question or a real answer to that question.
Right. Okay. So the next one is, are you dating anyone now?
Yes. We get so creative when it comes to that question because in a guy's mind, we're going to say, as in now, right now, at this moment. Well, no, at this moment, I'm talking to you, so I'm not dating anybody at this moment.
Yeah.
Now, last night,
that's a different
story. Or last weekend. And so, right. So what you want to get to the point is there anyone who you're in a sexual relationship within the last month? That's what that's the heart of the matter. And so to get to that question, I would ask it straight out, just like that.
But also, what if they just lie?
Well, he may. And so what you're going to look for is his reaction. Expect him to lie, okay? Because he believes that you're going to want to hear, no, right. I'm not having sex with anybody else. And so he's got a prepared statement for that. However, what he's not going to be prepared for is the directness with which you ask the question. He will be amused, he will be even a little stunned, and he won't be able to hide that in his body language. And the eyebrows may quiver, he may break eye contact, start fiddling with his hands. So you're looking at his reaction to give you the answer to that question because we expect him to lie about that one.
Okay, so obviously you want to do this in person.
You want to do that in person, absolutely.
It almost sounds like he's on the witness stand, when you ask it like, is there anyone you're currently in a sexual relationship with now or within the last month?
Absolutely. You got to be a great lawyer. You do. You really do.
Okay, and then of course the classic question that every guy knows about, and are you close to your mother? That bitch.
That, right, exactly. If he says that, run. Just put the phone down. Call the waiter for the check. Just leave. It's call it a wrap. And just chalk it up to experience. Any guy who is close to his mom, he grew up appreciating the things a woman can do in the home. He grew up seeing mom happy and grew up wanting to do and show a woman those things that would make her happy. So he's going to have a hard time not treating the other special woman in his life well. Okay. On the other hand, if he grew up with less than loving feelings towards her and things were not good, or he feels like she was not there for him, then there's a lot of deep-seated resentment, and it even goes towards anger, flat-out anger towards the other women in his life, and it is going to come out sometimes in some very devastating ways.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, everyone knows about this question, so couldn't guys have a prepared statement?
They can, but interestingly enough, that's usually one of those things guys can't hide. Because even when you talk about it, I think the issue is so deep rooted, it's almost impossible for him to not show the emotion. And that's also another red flag: the total lack of emotion that he may give you the answer with. Okay. A guy who loves his mom, he's going to go on and on. Oh, she's my best friend. I love her to death. I never miss a birthday, and this is what I always got to do for Christmas. He's going to give you a few mom stories just to corroborate the point. If there's anything less than that, then that tells you there's something fishy going on there.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, if someone asked me if I was close to my mom, I'd be like, yeah, I love her. She's an angel.
Absolutely. You're just going to be glowing. And as you say it, your face can't hide it. Your face is going to be beaming because you're thinking about her, and those loving feelings are just coming through the surface. If there are not any loving feelings underneath the surface, then there aren't any coming through the surface. It's going to be a total flat canvas that you're looking at.
Right. And then I guess same thing goes for, are you close to your father?
Absolutely. And if he says, who?
Which father?
Then run.
Which father? The stepfather?
Absolutely. My daytime daddy or my, that's just the problem. And so, again, it goes towards, people learn by example. If we see it, then we emulate it, we can do it. If we didn't grow up seeing those things that a man does in the house and how he treats his woman and how he treats his family and treats his kid and how he gets up to work every day and comes home at the end of every day, it's going to be hard for a guy to do those things. Not impossible, but it just takes a lot of extra effort, and the guys had to really put some work into overcoming some of those things that he didn't have coming up. And so it's a humongous red flag.
So a guy that grew up without a father, that's not a good thing.
It's it can really raise a red flag. He's had to put a lot of extra effort into it, and at that point, as a woman, you have to look at what he has around him. What else? What other family does he have around him? What other role models did he have growing up? Where is he in life now? Has he accomplished the things he set out for? And is he stable? And does he seem like he's got good, healthy relationships all around? He can overcome it, but it's difficult. Not impossible, but difficult.
Right. I agree. Now, you have a bunch of questions to ask. Now, one of the questions is about the car, and it's funny because you said, you want to ask if the car belongs to the guy. Mm-hmm. And I had a situation once where, this guy I was seeing, he was standing next to what was supposed to be his car. All of a sudden, a little birdie said to me, "That's not his car." I just heard this voice in my head that said, "That's not his car." And so I said, "That's not your car, is it?" And his eyes just about jumped out of his head. And he's like, well, la 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 la. And he gave an explanation.
Yes.
And so I thought, because you have a phrase to use in your book, but I thought, what? It's almost better to ask, if you don't mind my changing your phrase, is that your car, as opposed, or to say what I said, that's not your car, is it? Then if it is their car, they'll be like, oh, hell yeah, it's my car.
Absolutely. Call them on the BS, because that is a classic deal. Or they'll show up in something rented for the day or for the weekend. Or they'll show up in a buddy's car. And so, and if we show up and you happen to see that we're driving something that's just not up to par, not up to standard, we're going to have 1,001 excuses as far as what happened. Oh, you know what? The darndest thing, it was in a flood last week, and or the doggone thing was robbed, and they vandalized my car, and it's just such a long any excuse as to why you may or may not be seeing me in this car the next time I see you. Basically, yeah.
Right. So anytime I meet someone now with a Rolls or well, not that I ever meet them, but a Mercedes or a BMW, I'm going to go, that's not your car, is it? Just to see what they say.
Absolutely. And if it is, there will be no question, because that is something a man takes great pride in, what he drives.
Right.
And so, he'll go so far as to pull out the keys, open the door, that whole deal. Anything less than that,
to show you
some red flags.
Show you the registration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the name of my dealer. Just call him. Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Yeah. On the other hand, my girlfriend, she's beautiful, and she was getting gas, and she had borrowed a friend's car, and the car was like really ugly. It was like a Nova.
Oh, sure.
A beat-up Nova. And this guy pulls up. He's like, that is not your car.
Right. It's just, these two things do not match. Yeah, yeah. What is going on here? Exactly.
There's no way that is your car.
Absolutely. The whole picture has got to match. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you also mentioned trashy girl virus. So what is that?
Oh, that is a devastating illness.
It is.
It is. It has laid waste to many towns, many men in many towns. It's that idea of how men and women cheat. If women are going to see someone outside of their relationship, it's usually a guy who's on the same level or has accomplished a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
If guys are going to step outside of that relationship, it is never for a woman who is on the same level or better. She's never as attractive. She has never accomplished as much.
Right.
And it goes to why men and women cheat. Men cheat for sex.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that. You don't have to have any credentials for that. You have to have the XY chromosome, and then you're good to go. That's all you really need. You don't have to have a good job. You don't have to come from a good family. I'm not concerned with these things because all I want is the sex. Women, on the other hand, when women cheat, it's not just about the sex. It could be, but it's mostly about the emotionality of it. And I'm looking to, find someone who's really interested in what I'm interested in long-term wise. And so they cheat for totally different reasons. For guys, it doesn't matter. It can be anybody.
Yes, I noticed because...
Right, absolutely. And it hurts women's feelings and it shocks no end if they find who the guy has been stepping out with more. And the question is, why? What in the hell? What do you see in this person? And I don't look. It doesn't have anything to do with you or how pretty you are and how much you got accomplished. It has everything to do with what he needed at the time. Okay, what he felt he needed was sex, and she was the one at that time, and that's all it was.
Yeah, try telling that to Tiger Woods' wife.
Oh, no, that poor girl.
I know. It's true because I was dating this guy who was cheating, and I later found out. And I was, saying, are you cheating? He's like, I already have a 10. Why would I want to go for an 8 or 7?
Right, absolutely, yes. Playing to your ego, absolutely.
And I was like, I don't know. Why would you?
Great question.
And because I've noticed that, because whenever someone has cheated on me, it was never with someone as beautiful. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I was insulted. It's like, you know what? If you're going to cheat, at least can you please pick someone at my level?
Right, exactly. Because to do that means now I have two women who are going to require all this attention, and I can't do that. I can't spread myself that thin. So I'm going to have the one main girl who's got everything I need here, but the other lesser girls who I'm just going to be doing the sex thing with, I don't want them to have to be someone I got to pay a lot of attention to, I have to think about a lot, and that needs to be easier than what I have.
So then you're saying we should be happy that they're cheating with someone less attractive.
Well, I don't know if I'm happy, but but it's all in an attempt to understand why he did it. Don't feel like it's any slight against you. It just, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's got everything to do with what he felt like he needed at the time. Something more carefree that he just doesn't have to think about. He can do it, forget about it, and move on.
Right. Yeah. Because because when they get someone less, it's like because it's easier because they don't have to put as much attention to this girl. It's just.
Absolutely. And when it falls apart, what do? You walk away. You forget about it.
Right. Now, also in terms of the trashy girl virus, you also mentioned in terms of, when you ask a guy for a commitment and he's not finished yet with the trashy girls, so he can't make a commitment.
Absolutely. A guy, most guys have in their mind this number. You may have even heard guys talk amongst themselves, and they'll say, well, you know what? Before I get married, I got to date my fair share of girls, whatever that means, my fair share. Most guys have a number or a type of woman they've always imagine they would date when they were single and successful, and this is who I'm going to date when I grow up. And until they've done that, they're not going to want to commit to that one, that one woman. And so they feel like there's either a number or a type that they have to get through or go through to get to that point. And once he's really on the precipice of making that commitment, you will see a lot of weird, strange behavior. He may go out and just start acting a fool as far as dating and doing all kinds of crazy stuff because he feels he's got to get it out of his system before he makes that final commitment.
Mm-hmm. So then it's not always you, or, you, the woman. You may be great, but he's just not ready.
He's just not ready, absolutely. And so if you can stand to stick by and watch it, it's going to be painful. My advice would be not to. Just say, listen, I understand you got some issues you're working through and you're not quite there. I'd love to continue to be your friend, but, I can't be, that girl in that situation while you do this. And so do what you need to do, and we'll be friends. Call me when your situation changes or when you feel differently, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, how should a woman let a man know that there will be no sex if he has other sex partners?
You know what? I think you do it just the way you just said it.
Say it like that?
Question.
There will be no sex.
Absolutely. I think you ask the question, hey, is there anybody else you're having, you're in a sexual relationship right now? You may even want to preface it with, you know what? I'm very careful about my body, and that is just not something I want to expose myself to, knowing that you have other partners. While I do trust you, I can't trust them, that kind of thing. And so that will really clue you in very quickly on what it is he has in mind for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he is intending for you to be the one and only one, then he doesn't have a problem with it. Oh, yeah, no problem. I can prove to you that you're the only one and I haven't had anybody else. If he's saying, well, this may not be the deal, or we may need to think about this or talk about anything less than, yes, we can move forward, tells you that he didn't have in mind that you were going to be the only one, which may not be something you wanted anyway.
How can he prove to you that, you said, he'll prove to you that there's no one else?
Time. He will show you over time. That's when he will kick in with the action. He will call you every single time he told you he would. He will be there on time every single time he told you he would. When you're with him, there will be no strange late-night text messages or weird-hour phone calls, or he will not get that shocked, terrified look if the phone rings in your presence. He knows he can't answer it. Right, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And so he will show you these things over time to make you comfortable and feeling like, yeah, okay, he is, he doesn't have anything else going on. When we're together, I have his undivided attention, and when we're not together, he's still doing and showing me those things to let me know he's thinking about me.
Right, because otherwise when you ask him the question we mentioned earlier about are you seeing anyone else or having sex with anyone else, he could always just say no.
Right, exactly. And so time, you watch him over time, and that's how you tell.
Okay. And then you also said the way to extinguish a behavior you don't want is to not give it any attention. So does that mean if a guy doesn't call back as quickly as you would like or expect, does that mean you act like it doesn't matter?
Absolutely. You let him know that your life is bigger and has more going on in it than just him. And if he wants to be a part of it, great, be a part of it. However, my mom used to have this saying where she would say, one monkey doesn't stop the show. Okay? And so the circus must go on, whether one monkey is sick or not. Okay, we got to put the show on. And so that's what you have to show them. Listen, I think you're great. I would love to get to know you, and I would love to hear from you. But my life will go on just fine in the event I don't. And he's got to know that. And that right there garners women so much respect in a man's eyes, because at that point he knows, wow, this woman is independent. She's got it going on. And, I would be lucky to be a part of her life. She doesn't put everything else on pause just for me to walk through and grace her with my presence or with my attention.
Well said. So but there's some things you have to give attention to. Let's say a guy stands you up. Obviously, you have to say something.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, you have to say something. You have to say, listen, you call him up. Hey, what? I thought we were confirmed for this. What happened? Take whatever excuse he's going to give you, because he's got a canned excuse at that point. And then you say, well, you don't even need to say how much it hurt you or anything like that, but just let him know, wow, it would have been nice if you had been a little more respectful and and given me the courtesy to cancel, that type of thing. And then you absolutely do not make another date on that phone call.
Right, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then how can you let him know that you're not going to put up with that?
Well, you show them by your actions at that point. Number one, you tell them, listen, this can't happen again. I have more respect for myself than that. You're going to have more respect for me than that if we're going to be dealing with each other. And then you followed up with action. You absolutely don't stand for it to happen again in the event it does.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then one final question. You said, and I have to remember this because it just came to mind, that if a woman acts like she's not really into the relationship, then the guy's going to be able to feel it, and he is also going to start behaving that way. But I found that it seems like the less engaged I am, or even some of my girlfriends are, the more the guys seem to be interested.
It's weird how that happens sometimes. Guys, we're very curious. We always want what it is we think we can't have.
Right.
And the more we think we can't have it, sometimes it's like the more we want the doggone thing. And so usually a lot of times that does work. Now, that is to say if he's really interested.
Right.
Okay? If he's not so much interested or has not yet made up his mind about you, then the less interested you seem, then the less interested he's going to seem, because he doesn't have any stake in it at this point as well, because his mind isn't 100% made up about you as yet. But if his mind is made up about you, he does think you're somebody worth pursuing, then it's almost like initially, the more you withdraw, then the more he will pursue. Because every guy likes a challenge. As much as we don't want to admit it, every guy loves a challenge. We want to prove to you that we're that guy. We want to champion your cause and show you that we are that Prince Charming, and we want to win your heart, and that's what makes a guy feel good.
And you said initially, so then what happens after the initially?
Well, he can't chase you forever. Okay?
No, darn it.
At that point, at that point, you're going to have to decide what is it you want him to quote unquote catch you. Okay, and then hopefully that is after the emotional bonds have been made strong, and you really feel like you guys are on the same page as far as where you're heading, what you're looking for, and then you can be a little more open and upfront as far as where you are and how much you are into him as well. But initially, yeah, the chase definitely does work, and it's like I said, most guys will give chase. If you're that girl, we will give chase, and we will get very creative when it comes to things we'll do in that time.
Why do you think guys love the chase? Is it because it makes them feel more masculine?
Well, it goes back to who we are. Women are nurturers. Guys are hunter-gatherers. Mm-hmm. It's what we do. We want to go out. We want to track it. We want to hunt it. We want to capture it. Okay? And we want to bring it back home. That's what we want to do.
You want to bag it and bring it home.
Absolutely. You got it.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on. You've been great as a guest. Well,
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the book was wonderful. Of course, it's Little White Wise. And it's available, of course, at littlewhitewise.com. And what else goes on that website?
On that website, we got a lot of different neat little things. I give weekly dating tips, okay, for folks who want to sign up for the weekly free tips. I want it to be, we have a discussion or just start a blog on that website where folks can come on and share their stories. If they have something they're having a question about in a particular relationship situation, I'll be more than happy to give them answers. So I want it to be like a discussion room so we can kind of get a dialogue about the different things or the different misunderstandings that can go on between men and women, which a lot of folks are not all that easily willing to be forthcoming about sometimes.
Right. Okay. So check it out, and thanks again for being on.
Lucia, thank you very much for having me. I sure appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I actually have time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Sorry. I'm trying to get you off the air here. Sorry. Bye. Okay. One day I'll learn how to use this board, and I can hang up and make calls when I need to. All right. I was saying I actually have time to read an email. Actually, it's a series of emails from a woman who is a fan. And so let me read some emails. That didn't make sense, did it? Okay. It's from Diane, in case she's listening. Hi, Diane. All right. I think you're very intelligent, and you know a lot about love, more than any other person on this planet. And I mean that. Well, I don't agree, but but thank you. You help me so much more than I could ever put into words. You helped me to see what I was clearly lacking in my life. I was married over 20 years and had children. One thing I never did enough of was to take care of me during all those years. I did have a good, healthy love for myself before marriage, but it all gradually dwindled away, and I lost myself and did everything for my family. I suffered depression when I had to face facts and when I saw that my marriage was very unhappy. An unhappy marriage is not a good thing to be involved in. Yeah, I bet. I married at 17 years old, so I was way too young, and things got worse over time. Long story short, when I heard about you, my confidence just grew. A woman who is letting everyone know that life doesn't end at a certain point in a person's life, and love can be obtained when you love yourself. This allows others to love you. That's right. Love shouldn't be desperate, and you should always care for your needs and not get lost in someone else's wishes and desires. If someone doesn't respect your world, they don't belong in it. That's what you have taught me in a nutshell, and it's true. You also taught me to not be afraid of a really good guy who has a lot going for him and still believes in the days when men were gentlemen, and some still are, even though you see it more often in the younger men, or at least I have. And it's the sweetest thing. Yeah, I agree. You've helped me more than words can ever say. I hope more women learn about you in your book and all the great information you provide. What also sets you apart from many others is that you offer advice and good help to men too, not just women. Thank you for your advice and for being to me, you're a wise woman in all respects. I look up to you. I wish you the greatest love of your life and all the happiness in the world. Boy, my head is going to explode. Thank you. You know, it's always nice to hear back from people. I don't often read these emails on the air. Maybe you thought I never got any, but obviously I do once in a while. I wanted to have Diane on, but she was just too shy to come on, I think, but that's okay. Not a problem. Yeah, I mean, that is my goal, because, you know, a lot of the time I'm sitting at the computer and I'm writing my columns, writing my book, writing whatever, and I don't know who's reading it. I don't know how it's affecting people until they actually write, and they tell me, you know, it always touches me. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. It's like, it kind of reminds me, now that it's almost Christmas, about the story. Remember that, you know, the movie they play every year? Of course, I can't remember the name now, with Jimmy Stewart, and they showed what the world would have been like if he had never been born. So I kind of sometimes think of that, you know, it's like, how would things be if I wasn't around? And actually, a friend of mine ended up getting married because she met a guy through me. I mean, her now husband, they've been married for forever, and they have 2 kids. She met him because of me. It's like, well, they would never have gotten married. Another girlfriend, she's a multimillionaire, and we were living together, and she saw the way I was living my life, and these are her actual words. She said, you know, you were living your life like the world was your oyster, and you could do anything. And up until that point, she had been planning on just, you know, getting married, having children, having that little white picket fence. And then she saw me and the way I was living my life. She's like, wait a minute, I don't have to get married and have children. I can do something else. So she went on to eventually become an entrepreneur and become a millionaire. So if it hadn't been because of me, she might have just gotten married and had children and then gotten divorced like most people. So it's always nice to know that you affected someone's life. And we've all affected people's lives. And people have obviously affected our lives. We're all a combination of both, right? Okay. So thank you so much for listening today. If you would like to read some of my advice that I've been talking about here, you can go to lessonsoflove.net, where I have my book, Lucia's Lessons of Love. There's also an excerpt there from the book that you can read. My website, of course, is The Art of Love, and you can sign up for my weekly newsletter and see video clips of my TV show that I used to have, and my media of all the TV shows I've been on, and my testimonials. I have to put some of Diane's words up on my testimonials page, and a lot. There's a lot going on The Art of Love. And that is it for today. So until next time, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.
You're listening to The Art of Love with your host, Lucia, right here on LA Talk Radio.